All right, my friends, my name is Hootmoney. I make videos on the stock market. I usually look at stocks that have very high short interest. I analyze them and I figure out what they're going to do. So today we're looking at this stock, Gmvd Innovations, or Gmvd. This is a stock that has investigated internally naked short selling multiple times, and this past week has been absolutely indescribable in terms of what's going on. So we'll show you guys exactly right here. So as you guys can see, today there was about 6.77 million in total volume, and this brings it down about 12.77% on the day's trading after it jumped up all the way to 75 cents. It was actually up about 40-50% at market open today. There was all this random selling volume that also came in today. Now, we are talking about a stock that has no liquidity to sell shares. So market makers don't really have anything. And I have proof through these short exempts, right? So what is a short exemption? A short exempt refers to a short sell order that is exempt from the price test of the Securities and Exchange Commission's regulation SHO. The current implementation of this regulation contains a modified version of the uptick rule, which restricts the price of short sell orders on a security whose price is falling. So you can see on this chart, there's clear upticks, there's clear downticks. The downticks are marked by red, the upticks are marked by green. A short exempt is essentially when someone shorts into a downtick. So there is one downtick on the chart and then they short into that downtick, kind of causing a feedback loop of short selling. This is also when they are restricted from doing so because of regulation SHO rules. And the reason that it's called an exempt is because they are exempt from these regulation rules from the SEC. Another thing to understand about short exemptions is that they can only be done by market makers. They cannot be done by retail investors. They cannot be done by even hedge funds, unless the hedge fund is also a market maker, like he who shall not be named. There's only a few reasons that short exempts should ever exist in the first place. It's if the seller owns the shares being shorted but is restricted from delivering them at the time the short sale order is placed. The short sale is being made by a market maker in order to resolve an odd lot position. We can click on that here. An odd lot is essentially to resolve an order that is less than 100 shares of the common stock. This is common when trading penny stocks, so you'll see exemptions there. Short seller is attempting to arbitrage between the price differences between domestic and international market. The short sale is made in connection to a layoff sale or over allotment. It is executed on a volume weighted average price basis with certain conditions, and it can only be done by a market maker. Well, looking at the short exemptions on Gmvd, it is absolutely insane. You can see right here on June 2nd, we take the short exemptions there of 20,000. Then we divide it by the total volume of the day of 48,000. We get the number of 41%. 41% of the total volume was short exempted. They don't have these shares. This is a naked short sale because they never borrowed the stock in the first place, and 41% of the total volume was an exempted short sale. The next day, it was about 10% of total volume. Yes, that sounds low in comparison to 40%, but 10% is also absurdly high. And then on June 8th, it was 27% short exempt volume over total volume. So essentially what we're seeing here is that market makers do not have this supply of stock to sell, and they're likely just selling a bunch of fake bullshit shares. And what we saw in today's price action is extremely concerning because, as you can see, there was a volume spike. It started to pick up, but then this random selling volume came out of nowhere. We've already proved that they don't even have shares in the first place. They've been exempting this thing to absolute hell over the past week or so, and then we see a volume spike. If we're just looking at the volume today, it's absolutely absurdly huge. We've never seen this much volume since all the way back here at the beginning of January on the stock. Randomly today, they have millions of shares to sell. Tell me how that makes sense, right? Because it has 6.83 million in total volume. That's over 68 times the volume that we saw yesterday traded on this stock. So in order for the stock to be down 8% as we speak right now, wouldn't they have to have shares to sell? Like, shouldn't someone have shares to sell? Clearly, no one was selling it here, right? No one was selling it when the price was this high a week ago at 67 cents. But today, all of a sudden, there's millions of shares to be sold. It doesn't make sense, and it is complete, utter bullshit. Like, this shouldn't be happening, guys. And you should be mad if you are an investor in the stock market, because this is how market makers, who are the bottom line of creating like the price of a stock in the stock market, because they are the ones actually controlling the flow of orders, they are literally deciding, no, this stock is not worth it. We are going to sell you fake bullshit. Well, according to Fintel, which given only has about 85% of the data from prime brokers, they're saying that there's 30,000 short shares that are available. So through a legitimate short sale, there's only about 30,000 available, and there was only 2,000 available as of an hour ago, 0 as of 2 hours ago. Regardless, this is not millions of shares, right? There's not millions of shares available to be shorted, yet we have seen millions of selling volume as of today, after we've seen a week of them being super illiquid, essentially naked shorting the stock. Now, keep in mind that the stock, once it hit 75 cents per share, this would have put those short exemptions down, right? You need to cover a short exemption within 6 trading days of it occurring. And we saw today it went up to 75. So if you actually go back 6 days on the price action, if they were to cover that stock, they would be down on their naked short sale. Now today the stock moves up to a position where the market makers have to cover it for a loss. Randomly we see tons of selling volume come out of the blue, volume that we have again not seen in over half a year on this stock. Meanwhile, the stock traded at the exact same price about a week ago, keep in mind. And now the stock has knifed about 45% from its high of the day. It doesn't make sense. Something is not adding up. And there's most likely just a ton of naked shorts being sold on this stock. Now, before anyone asks, there's no options being traded, so there's no real room for manipulation in terms of the options market. The company is actually currently investigating the aggressive naked short selling activity of the stock, and this was posted back in March of 2022. If we go back to the chart, I mean, the stock was trading at $1.30, over 200% higher than it is right now, and just on low volume it's been completely ripping to the downside, and it makes no sense. If we look at on balance volume, it has moved up to an incredibly high position, yet today randomly out of the blue it absolutely tanks off of random sell volume that comes out of nowhere after the stock goes up a ton, up 40% on the day. Another tidbit of news that is very important is that the company will be doing a share repurchase program. So the company is going to be acquiring up to $1 million of the company's ordinary shares. The company may purchase ordinary shares from time to time in the open market. So it's the opposite of an at the market offering. It's essentially the company will be buying their own stock. So this combined with the fact that they are researching naked shorting, and we did get this volume spike today, I do believe that there is potential for the company to come in with that $1 million pretty soon on their stock. Another thing that's important to note is their stock is literally at an all-time low right now. There's no real news that is behind this 10% move to the downside. So if the company wants to be a smart investor, again, they would probably be buying this stock as well at these low prices. The last thing I want to go over, and I usually go over this on these low float penny stocks, is there is not too much risk of being diluted as a shareholder. As you can see right here, according to Delusion Tracker, the only risk is the warrants. So there's about 12.79 million warrants. They still have good cash that will last them for 21 months. These warrants are priced at $1.50 here and $1.50 there. That is from January and April of 2022. There's no other real sources of being diluted, and the stock is trading well below that, over 200%. 50% below that value anyways. So you should be protected. The only real thing that's making this stock come down, in my personal opinion, is market makers selling shares that literally don't exist. And when this updates today, guys, I will be posting it on Twitter. I will be going crazy. Maybe I'll even make a YouTube short on it. I'd love to see what this exempt volume is today, because this is absolute insanity. Anyways, my friends, share this video with as many people as possible. This needs to be made aware of to as many people as possible. I mean, 40% exempt volume in a single day is something that is absolutely unheard of in the stock market, and the only way that we can get something like this to change is to drive the most eyes on it as possible. So by doing that, you can just share the video, share the due diligence. It's all yours. I will not take credit for it. And that's about it. Like the video if you guys enjoyed. If you wanted to join my Hootmoney trade alerts, you can sign up using the first link in the description or first link in the pinned comment section as well. The rates for that will be going up in July. So if you want to be locked into the $25 a month rate, you have to become a member in June. That's all I got, my friends. I'll be seeing you guys next time. I'm really pissed off about this stock. Hope you guys are too, because this is absurd. All right, guys. Peace out.